Hi everybody, what's up and welcome back. Flavio Gargano here for musicinthemirror.com. A lot of work is waiting for us today. We will talk about MIDI programming, we'll craft amazing instruments, racing effects, automations, a lot of details all within this breakdown. As always, no external samples, VST or plugins. 100% is made in Cubase, but of course you can achieve a similar result within your favorite DAW. So let's start, stay creative and unleash your music! Let's have a look to the drum kit. This time we got a lot of sample cause there are so many details to take care of. Let's see how I process the drum kit, then we will go more in depth with constructing the patterns. For the kick, I increased the attack on 70 Hz and the slap around 7 kHz. Then I added a magneto to saturate between 70 and 100 Hz, a maximizer to boost the signal, a low shelf EQ to gently make room for the bass, and a stereo enhancer to keep the kick in the center. This is the before and after. Before and after. We got a nice and fat kick. The clap. I look at on 200 Hz, increase the body a little bit, gave some presence around 2 kHz, and some shyness with this high shelf. Then I put it on a multi-band compressor to further increase the body and the limiter to gently smooth some peaks. This is the before and after. For the hi-hat, I just added some shyness. Then on the insert chain I put it on the tube, a saturator, a maximizer, an EQ to get rid of the low-end frequencies, and of course a touch of reverb. This is the before and after. For the main snare, we got body and shyness. Then I gently saturated the frequencies between 100 and 600 Hz with the magneto too, and I added a maximizer to squash the signal a little bit. The toms. I shaped the sound adding more body and shyness. Then I added a compressor and a maximizer. For the cowbell, I just give it more brilliance and a little bit of ambient. Then I heavily compressed the crash, gave it a lot of body, some presence, a touch of brightness, and a huge reverb. Okay, let's check the whole pattern. Sounds nice, groovy and powerful, and that's exactly the way it has to be. Let's have a look to the drum patterns. We got 4 patterns and 2 fills. For the pattern number 1, we got a 4 on the floor kick along with the hi-hat, a typical clap on 2 and 4, and a percussion remarking the bass line. Next, pattern number 2. This is a copy of a previous pattern plus an open hi-hat. Pattern number 3. We got a kick and clap as usual, a cowbell along with the open hi-hat. As you can see, we got 3 different hi-hats. I'll go more in depth in a while. And a tom on second half of the third quarter, in this way. 1, 2, 3, half 4. Let's move to the last pattern, number 4. It's a copy of a previous pattern plus the percussion we saw in the pattern number 1. As you can see, we got small variations that makes a lot. Next, we got the drum fill number 1, based on the pattern number 2, with no kick on 3 and 4, 2 snares in 16 and 2 toms. Check this out. Taka taka tan. One more time. Very easy. Next, drum fill number 2. We got no kick, clap, the hi-hat, turntable effects and the snare with the huge reverb on the 4. Here we go. A cool thing you could do is to create an automation that cut the reverb out, making room for the next part. In this way. Now check without. It's definitely more clear. Okay, now let's go back to the hi-hat. As you remember, we got 3 hi-hat: close, half open and open. But what if I tell you that all those guys are just one simple? Let me show you what I mean. This is the basic sound. I made 2 more copies and shaped them differently in order to get a gradual shorter sound. In this way. Okay, let's go back to the drum fill number 2 and focus on the turntable effects and the long snare reverb effects. To create the turntable effects, pick a sample, in our case the kick. Make a copy, reverse and trigger. Done! Very easy. This technique works for any sample, so please do try this at home. I applied a similar technique to the long reverb snare. The challenge here was to get a snare with a huge tail with no decay. Initially, I didn't get the result I wanted just applying the reverb and heavily compressing it. So I came up to this. I layered 2 snares, I reversed the second one and slowed it down with the time warp function. Then I applied the reverb and the compressor on both the insert channel. And this is the result. Well done! Let's move to the bass. Square. Shape 5. Turn on the sub and decrease the volume a touch and cut off. Let me shape the sound in this way. Distortion 5, resonance 3. Envelope 4 to make the filter ADSR works, and shape the filter like that. Now, I want to gently modulate the oscillator 1 shape and get this result. As you can see, I'm emulating the sine wave behavior, increasing and decreasing the shape value. To automate this process, I'm gonna connect the LFO1 sine wave to the shape. So, click on all these 3 small lines, move to the shape knob and release as it turns green. Immediately, you see the metric section updated. Now, we have just to trigger the modulation depth, means how much wide the range shape has to be. Well done! Let's processing! I decrease 5 dB on 70 Hz corresponding to the kick attack, and some mid frequency around 400 Hz. Remember this number, I'll tell you why in a while. Then I gently lower some low-end frequencies, added a compressor and a brick wall limiter. This is the before and after. Before and after. Okay, now, in order to get a wider sound without losing the mono stereo compatibility, I made a copy of the bass, cut the frequencies above 400 Hz, and that's why I removed the same frequency from the main bass. Then I added a little bit of a shyness, a compressor, and a stereo enhancer. When you layer similar sound, always try to invert the phase and look for some frequencies cancellation. Let's mix the 2 sounds together. Like that. Okay, let's proceed to the main character of this song, the lead synth. Oscillator 1 ramp 16. Let's set a fast decay. Increase the envelope and set a slow attack. Lower the cutoff. Now the funny part. Move to the effects section, turn on the reverb, decrease the time, turn sides, the pre-delay, and lower the mix, like that. Then I shape the sound, decreasing some mid frequencies and boosting the mid and high tones. Then I added a compressor, a stereo enhancer, and some ambient. Moving ahead, let's have a look to the pad sound and chords. Let's craft the pad sound first. Oscillator 1, I go for sine. Multi, 8, and detune a little bit. Oscillator 2, so. Multi, 5, and detune. Let me shape the sound like that and cut off. Then move to the effects section, turn on the reverb and lower the modulation rate down. Done. Let's shape the sound. In general, pads tend to saturate low-end frequencies, so it's always a good idea to equalize them according to the whole mix and trying to find the right combination between body and presence. Let me show you what I mean. This is the dry signal. As you well know, in this frequency spectrum there are other instruments like bass, for example. Let's turn on the bass and see what happened. As you might notice, we lost sound definition and got a lot of mud. Let me turn the EQ back on. Everything is in the right place now. Keep this in mind for your productions. Let's have a look to the chord sequence. Basically, we have F sharp minor, C sharp minor on E, D, C sharp with no third. Let me be a little more technical, but don't be scared, it's very easy. You can see the descending bass movement. And of course, you might notice these two notes, C sharp and G sharp, held along the whole chord progression. Those notes in the classical music theory are called pedal notes and makes the harmony a little bit more complex and interesting as well. So now the chord sequence is this. Next, we got this nice and melancholic melody played by a faraway piano. This is the dry signal. I just cut out some low frequencies and lowered some high-mid frequencies. Then I added a compressor, sidechain with a kick, and a notch filter, around 4 kHz. Then I added the reverse long plate reverb and compress it. Next, we got this soft and elegant synth sequence that sustains the pad, creating a gentle rhythm. Let's craft it. Oscillator 1 ramp. Let's shape the filter ADSR. Envelope 6. And cut off. Then move on the FX tab and turn on delay and reverb. And just set the mix level properly. Then I've gently lowered the middle frequencies and added a long plate reverb. Let's check it with the other instruments. See that? Everything sits exactly on its place, and that's what I want. Next, we're gonna take care of the last two elements. Two sounds layer that creates subtle variation and gives to the instrumental part a spicy touch. Let's check it out. So, I loaded these 1990s synth strings in Helium Sonic SE3 and automated the volume. Then I added a quadro fuzz and the brick wall limiter to smooth some peaks. Next I crafted the basic synth. We got 3 squares oscillator with a slightly different shape, and automated the cutoff and distortion, in this way. Let's listen to them all together. Okay, let's move to the funny part, the raising effects. Let's listen to that. Okay, you can hear a synth and a noise layered. You can make it in 2 ways. Crafting the sounds all within a synth. In alternative, you can choose to keep them independent. I'll show you both options. Here we got our synth. We got 2 sound layered, a white noise and a basic synth with a growing up pitch. For the noise layer, I explained this nice technique in the previous video you can see here above, so check it out for more details. Basically, I triggered the noise with my keyboard and I've just automated the EQ in this way. Simple, but very cool. Time to check the final project. Let's start with the drum. Then the bass. Time for piano, pad, synth. Raise effects. And the lead synth. What a great job, guys! Today we understood that details matter and the way they make the difference in a song. So try to take advantage of what you learned today and apply it to your production. By the way, what's the song you want me to break down next? Just type it in the comments and check the link for the download. But don't forget, stay creative and unleash your music!